Welcome, foolish mortals, to another Monday Toy Talk. I know we're a little earlier than we usually are because our wonderful guest, Super Sorrow, is from England, and so it's 10 o'clock his time. So I didn't want to make it too late, especially on a Monday. I don't know what time you have to go into work first thing tomorrow, but I generally have to be up at 5 a.m. So if I was up at 10 till 10 or 11 or something, I'd be wrecked tomorrow morning. So again, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Coming and chatting with us.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, people will pop on here as we go along. So everybody knows the general format. We're going to just kind of say hi to everybody as they show up. And then talk about stuff we got in and some toy news. There was a lot of stuff over the past couple of weeks.
It's been busy, yeah. It's been very busy.
Hey, Rolando, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, there's some of it I picked up off your site, especially that McFarlane, the new McFarlane Disney stuff.
Oh yeah, that looks awesome. I really can't wait to talk about that and getting on that because it just looks so good.
Yeah. Hey, Franco, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. Every time I see Frank's little picture, I don't know why it reminds me of like a Guy Ritchie film, Snatch or something. Just that dog needs to be in something. Hey, Fabulous Disaster, how you doing? Hey, Power Ranger Anthony, how are you? Oh, fabulous. Hey, look at that. Right here in our little neighborhood. Black Dot Ewok, how you doing? I've always loved his name.
Black Dot Ewoks.
Yeah, almost nobody remembers that from Return of the Jedi. Yep, me too.
Thank you very much.
Ooh, cool.
Oh, nice.
God, have there really been 50 Darth Mauls? My goodness. Uncle George did well. He really gets us to buy a whole bunch of stuff that, you know, how many Darth Vaders have there really been? I mean,
too many to count.
Yeah, apart from like button color changes, it's not like his outfit changed. It's like Boba Fett. There must be at least 40 or more Boba Fetts.
And we keep buying them.
And we'll get a new one now that his armor's all clean, and we'll have to get Fat Fett.
Yeah.
So he'll be around, and then so you get like 4 new Fetts just out of that episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
how you doing?
Well, they get the Mandalorian. Sorry, the Darth Vader, the Boba Fett without the without the armor in the black robe. Then you'll get him with the armor on top of the black robe.
Yeah.
And then you'll get the whole complete look.
Yep.
A slightly fatter version.
Yeah.
To make it older.
And if Hasbro is Hasbro, they'll take one with him in the whole outfit, all dinged up, where you can take the helmet off. And then put another one out where you can take the helmet off. He's all in clean armor, all repainted. Yeah. Cool. Hey, Mark, how you doing? I hope you are recovering well, sir. Mark had some surgery Friday, so hopefully he's doing well. Razov saying hi to BOE. Yes. Hey, Kat, how you doing? Kat, I've been sick all day, so I've pumped up on vitamins and stuff before I came on, so I actually slept. But I will rewatch. Kat was on Salacious Rum's channel today.
Okay.
So I will rewatch that tomorrow, Kat. I promise. Yeah, me too. I don't know why I know why I'm sick. I just don't I don't usually get sick enough that I call off of work. But no, I don't want to restart my computer. I'm doing something, Windows. Jeez. All right, so so let's start off and start with our guest. And you get any pickup stuff this week?
Oh yeah, I got some stuff this week. The one thing that arrived today, got the new Galaxy Adventures Mandalorian.
I cannot believe they're still making those figures, but they're very cool.
I know. I can't wait. I'm going to compare him to the toy box ones. I'm not sure if everyone knows. I collect the toy box stuff that Disney puts out, and I've been getting these ones and comparing them basically because it's a very similar line. So I got these bad boys, and my other thing that I'm really happy about this week, I finally tracked this down. It took me ages to get, but yeah, I wanted it just for the Hercules more than anything, just because you don't get many articulated sort of Disney heroes.
No.
And then the one thing I did get was the McFarlane Warhammer figures.
Yep.
And I had a little head swap. So I've got solid blue and solid red. Because they come with the blue with the red head and the red with the blue, and it looks stupid.
Yeah.
So made the solid armors.
I haven't done anything with Warcraft in years, so I wasn't sure if that was just right. But I was like, I'm sure the heads can be removed and just swapped.
And then the final pickup of the week, Skelly God.
Nice.
Very excited for the new He-Man coming in the next few days. Very excited to watch that. But yeah, the Skelly God. And that was kind of my pickups this week.
Cool.
I'm very close to Super Sorrel. Blue Avis Toys, where are you from, man? Just down the road.
Yeah, I think. Oh, yes, please, everybody who is on, I've pinned his channel up to the top.
Thank you very much.
Probably most everybody has subbed to him if you're subbed to me, because I've shared quite a few things. So you're probably around. So,
yeah. You literally are down the road from me then.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys go to the same Smiths and everything.
Probably.
I can't believe how much stuff Smiths has. Every time you guys do it, you or him do any kind of toy hunting and stuff, I'm like, no wonder we don't have anything. Smiths bought it all.
So Toys R Us went down over here, and it was kind of like, oh, what is going to happen? Because Smiths was only up and coming when that happened. So in the UK, it was kind of like, oh my god, we don't have a toy store anymore. And then all of a sudden, now out of nowhere, just the Smiths came out of nowhere and just started getting so much stock in.
Yeah, it's it's weird because like I live in Denver, so we have a couple million people, and we can't get toys. And it's not that everybody's buying them; they're just not shipping them to our Walmarts and Targets. I have friends who work in the shipping areas, and they're like, "No, we didn't get anything for figures, nothing." And now it's we had a problem where we had empty pegs all in our. I'm sure you've seen the toy hunts from everybody, but that problem has now moved into die-cast cars as well. So now all the die-cast cars are almost empty, which, usually Hot Wheels and stuff like that, they sell, but they don't sell out. But now it's even getting to the point where we're having a problem keeping those aisles even remotely stocked.
Oh, have you ever seen a Smith's Hot Wheels aisle? But that kind of thing doesn't really sell out here in the UK. There isn't really a big market for that kind of stuff. But for some reason, we have aisles and aisles of little metal cars, and there's just so much stock. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's because it's American tat. I mean, everybody wants Corgi. They don't want Hot Wheels. But and oddly, my grocery store has probably several thousand Hot Wheels cars at the moment. They have dump bins. They have a 4-foot section top to bottom, nothing but Hot Wheels cars. And everybody I know who collects Hot Wheels, I've told them get over to there because they have thousands for no reason whatsoever. It's weird, but so yeah, I loved Forbidden Planet. I only went to the one in London, but I bought
Forbidden,
some weird stuff there.
Forbidden Planet's amazing.
A little pricey, but that's okay.
Mm.
You
It's
just
because we
convince
don't
your
have. Yeah, sorry.
but
It's because we don't have anything like that other than Forbidden Planet, so they kind of capitalize the market, so they
yeah,
can charge what they want.
yeah, that's true.
The UK, we kind of have to rely on our online retailers like Comics and Cocktails, Kapow Toys, Inderman Toys, the ones that I always talk about. It's
Yeah.
because they literally have built themselves from the ground up online and they stock everything for us.
Well, brick and mortar is hard. It's so expensive to keep a staff going and keep your doors open, and you know during this, which must not be named, it's been easier for online people to keep going than I'm not sure if Forbidden Planet just kind of shut their doors and just started shipping stuff, or
Yeah,
they
so
just shut
during
down altogether.
lockdown, during lockdown, I know the one in they basically shut so many of the stores, but I think London, Manchester, I think Leeds stayed open, but they were just shipping things out online. You could like contact them through Facebook and they'd send things out, so that was good.
Yeah, if you didn't have a pretty well set up web store already, you were in the dust to these other places. Over here, it's Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toys. Those are the big ones that they've done really well. I did not buy toys there. However, I did buy Red Dwarf greeting cards, oddly enough. I haven't been over since must be 2009-ish. So I gotta get back over. I was supposed to have my buddy come over here we're going to Disney World for Christmas, but he's not sure A, that you're going to be allowed in the country, or B, that you're going to be allowed to leave.
Yeah, I meant to be coming over to Florida in March, but even that's like touch and go now, which because that new weird Delta variant, or whatever they're calling it. I think you guys want to keep us out.
What's up, Blue? Hey, all about Trash Talker. How are you, sir? It is going well. I might take you up on that. I know Brian doesn't mind having me on his floor, but we may come up to see you in Leeds. But yeah, I'm really hoping he can come. We're celebrating my mom's 70th birthday, my 50th, Disney World's 50th. It'd be nice for him to come over, but at the moment, with Australia shutting down completely again. Who just shuts continents down? But hopefully all this stuff will blow over sooner. Vaccinations are really getting high in England and here, so I'm hoping that we can open up something where at least the EU and us can come to an arrangement. Canada, we're supposed to be able to start going back and forth to Canada again in the next week or so. So maybe that'll be good. I appreciate it, sir. So, let me show you what I got. I didn't get a whole lot because everybody knows I've kind of stopped collecting for the moment while I get some bills and stuff under control. The only thing I really got big was I picked up another piece of Scooby-Doo Playmobil.
That's cool.
And so I still need to get the house and this little cool haunted cemetery, and then there's one with them eating dinner at a table, which if I'm really good, I could put all those pieces together and make an interesting haunted mansion Scooby-Doo set, which would be cool. That's my other fear, is that Play School may someday get a Disney license and start doing stuff. That would be horrible for me because they would make so much cool junk. Really, the only other thing I got was found this at my comic book store. It's called Legends of Star Trek. It's a Johnny Lightning, but it's a classic Romulan bird of prey cloaked. But it's a cool little car. I don't even know how old it is. 2004, but I didn't remember seeing it in the store, so I had to pick it up when I saw it. But that's pretty much it for me. It was a slow week. I have been working a ton, so I was supposed to go out toy hunting tomorrow. We'll see how I feel. I don't want to go out and either get something worse or worse, pass it on to somebody else. So, now we'll just chat for a few. If anybody in the chat has questions, please toss them out. But I did want to ask you a few things. So,
yeah, go for it.
When did you start toy collecting, and can you remember what the first thing you bought for your collection was, or your first toys?
So I started seriously collecting back probably about 2004, 2005, just after I kind of left high school. And I started getting disposable income because I didn't go to college or anything. I went straight into work. And handing a 16-year-old, £2,000 a month is just like handing me a loaded gun. Yeah. So I went to places like Forbidden Planet and bought everything I can get my little hands on. And then, but I can't remember the first thing I bought, but I was going mad on because like Funko they weren't called Funko back then though. I can't remember what they were called. They were just head knockers. And I've got
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I've got the Emperor from Star Wars, and he's sort of like stood like that with like lightning coming out of his hands, and that was like one of the first Star Wars Funko pieces, and I own it. I'm like, wow, so that's going to be worth something in the future, I think. But other than that, I just kind of started collecting off and on through my like late teens, and then it wasn't until I moved out with my wife that she said, "Well, you're doing all this crap for yourself. You may as well put it in front of a camera and make some money out of it." I said, "What are you on about?" And then she showed me the wonderful world of YouTube. And yeah, that's a different story. That's just a whole different story, isn't it? But yeah, don't make much money, but I enjoy the community out here and I enjoy doing what I do.
Yeah. Everybody thinks that you're gonna, if you don't have several 100,000 followers, you're not gonna make a ton. But that's what I do. I love the community. I don't.
Yep.
I'm not even. I should be monetized by the end of next week, nice. As far as watch hours. But I'm going to turn it on, but not really do anything with it. I don't, I don't particularly do it for that. I do it to talk to people like you and, Vader's Girl and Sleeping Collectibles and all these guys that I've met, and Mark and I really enjoy talking to you guys, and finally having somewhere, because especially in the past year or so since we haven't been able to go to conventions.
Yeah,
this is pretty much what my friends and I would do at a convention. We just sometimes we go buy a whole bunch of junk, show each other what we bought, then sit around and talk in the lobby or whatever, or in the room. And I feel that's kind of what we were able to create here, because we're all get 20, 30 of us in a room and just kind of chat about stuff. But I saw that NECA Puppet Master set. That's a nice little set. I got I'm got to pick up the Super 7 has done some Puppet Master stuff too that I need to pick up, some reaction figures for that.
Autobot, did you pick up both parts of the set or just one of them? Because I know there's two different sets, isn't there, from the NECA? You can get two different Puppet Master sets.
Oh, I haven't seen the two. I've just seen the one with the small-headed guy. Mm-hmm. That's the only one I've seen so far.
Yeah, there's two sets as far as I'm aware, because there's like six. Is there 6 toys overall in general?
Yeah, I think there's 6 of the things.
Yeah, and they've released 4 so far. So you can get the one with the small head guy and the big guy with the hook that I think you're on about. And then there's the other set as well, which has got like the guy who looks a bit like V from V Vendetta with the white face.
Uh-huh.
And the guy with like the coat with the big spike. They're out now as well.
That's that set. I like that guy. I don't watch a lot of horror movies, but I do enjoy the stuff around them. Yeah, it looks like he picked up both.
Awesome.
So yeah, I've got a ton of horror stuff, where it's Freddy or Jason or Michael or Sam or any of those guys, but I haven't watched a horror movie in years. I don't like the slasher films. I like more thinking horror films, more thrillers. Yeah. I couldn't watch a Saw movie if you forced me to, but I don't mind the original Jasons and Freddys because they're kind of funny, along with being, just kind of slashery.
Yeah, I like your really over the top, like silly stuff. So like your Chucky and Chucky and Tiffany, and obviously Sam Trick or Treat. I love Sam.
Yeah.
Every Halloween, little Sam comes out, and just over the top stuff like Freddy because it's more ridiculous than anything else.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Robert. That's the other thing is Super 7 getting G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and everybody's flipping out about it, but it's not Hasbro's G.I. Joe, it's Sunbow's G.I. Joe. So they're all based off the cartoon series, not the toys.
The toy line.
I knew that people were going to flip out that they were going to make reaction figures. And I wondered if they were going to do O-rings or not, but they're sticking to their reaction line of mostly 5.0. Which I knew people would have fits about. Those Ultimate figures are nice though. Even at 55, they're pretty cool. They have different heads and hands, and
I really think that'll give Hasbro a run for its money for the declassified line for sure.
Yeah. The bad thing is basically they only sell those on their websites and Big Bad and stuff like that. You'll never see those in a store here.
No, never.
Same with the Ultimate Turtles they've done and the Thundercats. They just sell out, and so they don't even really. I'm still waiting for that Disney line that they've done, and if I saw them in stores, I'd end up buying them all. So I'm glad I don't see them. But yeah, I am looking forward to Super 7. They also just announced I'm a sucker for 3 3/4 inch. You can literally put anything on this packaging, and I will buy
it. Yeah, that look good.
It's in my DNA, and so I own a lot of Super 7 and Reaction and Funko 3 3/4 inch. They just announced and put on pre-sale ones, and it won't mean as much to you from England, but to us it does. Charlie Brown's Halloween special.
Oh, yeah.
And I grew up with that thing. I'll watch it randomly just because it's on my Plex server, and I'll be like, I want to watch Halloween, and click it on, and it's just 23 minutes of you're a kid again. So I had to pre-order all those. They also announced a new a Michael Knight from Knight Rider. So I'll have to have that. And of course, Mark from Blue Harvest Toys, he's a huge Knight Rider fan. So if he can't find that, I may have to order it for him. Oh, nice. I love talking to Robert. He is such a nice guy.
Yeah, when I came over to America for Halloween once, I remember on TV, obviously, I watched Charlie Brown for the first time. Charlie Brown and the Pumpkin Patch, is it called or something?
Yeah, it's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
That's the one. And then there was another film straight afterwards, which apparently is quite Americanized as well, which we don't get over here, which was it was this Halloween cartoon about a tree.
Oh, the Halloween tree.
That's the one. Yeah. So we had pretty much like a proper Americanized Halloween that year.
Nice. it is like our kind of holiday. It's it's all you guys created it, and we kind of stole it and then fixed it in the 50s and created it as a kids thing. Cool, Robert. That is sweet. I hate that NECA's doing that because I will have to buy those. I love Flash. The Flash Gordon 80s movie is just 80s cheese on top of Velveeta with canned cheese on top of it. It's great. And the Filmation one, I love that. I don't know. Now, I often hear that that NECA doesn't get a lot of stuff over there.
No,
or it's hard to find.
You can't. NECA you've got to get it from our online retailers because no store is stocking it. You have to pre-order it, and if you don't pre-order it, you're not going to get it, basically. Yeah. So it's getting better. It's getting better.
The Defenders of the Earth figures they did recently.
Yeah. Those came over here. they're still available actually from a lot of the retailers, and they didn't really sell out over here. Those, so
they
they're quite.
they did fairly well for a while, and then they just kind of stopped. I think everybody who really loved the show bought them initially, and then that was the first couple waves, and then that was it. It'll be cool to see what they do for Filmation. Robert, what else did they show? Because I like I said, I was sick, so I didn't get to see the NECA stream. I'll have to watch it tomorrow. Did they show any more gargoyles? And anything that's like a new thing that we haven't seen, like when they added the Thing figures, those are cool. I love that. I would hate for them to get a hold of Big Trouble in Little China, but I would also buy every one they make.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like same with the NECA stuff with the gargoyles, they're not even allowed to release those in the UK.
What?
They're not allowed to. There's something to do with the commercial rights for the gargoyles, and they can't release the figures here in the UK.
Oh, I did not know that.
So we're missing out.
I will definitely have to be picking those up for some people over there then. Wonder if that's the same for Australia. I'll have to ask Usual Mike and see if they're done that too. No, it's a reaction figure by Super 7. I don't know if Diamond Select's doing one. If Diamond Select's doing one, that would be cool because you get swappable Hasselhoff heads. Who doesn't need that? Because then you could start creating, because the heads are interchangeable with Marvel stuff, and you could make it. Nice. Oh, cool. Oh, Gargoyles Demona. Sweet. Flamethrower. I'll get that one. Then I'm glad I waited and didn't get that first one. Of course, TMNT. Boy, that is saved NECA's butt getting that Turtles license.
Oh, that is just a cash cow to print money.
Yeah. I cannot believe that Playmates, after all these years, let that go. Or maybe they just didn't get it renewed. And those guys are like, we're going to go in a different direction.
Oh, they're doing a new Chucky Bride of Chucky Retro 2-pack, a clothed version. That'll be nice. Yeah,
Rob, like I said, I really don't like horror movies, but the Thing is a little different. I don't know if like the Aliens movies, some people consider those horror movies. I consider them sci-fi.
Yeah, sci-fi.
And the Thing, while a horror-ish movie, definitely has horror bits in it. But I don't know. I feel that's more thriller, but I will not sit down and watch The Thing just because. There's a lot of other stuff I would, but I just,
Universal Monsters put a teaser out for The Mummy as well, which sounds good.
Ooh.
Some new Gremlins.
Nice. Of course.
Oh yeah, Gargoyles. The Goliath packaging was shown today. Demeanor teaser was shown with articulated wings, and is it Thalog was shown as well.
Sweet.
Nice.
I love that show. That was a great show off Disney Afternoon.
Yeah, so here in the UK, they used to go out live on a Saturday morning for us. Yeah. They were like a Saturday morning segment. It was still packaged the way you guys, I think, saw it. It was still called the Saturday Afternoon Club, even though it was on at 9 a.m. So it still came with like how you guys saw it and packaged and stuff with your tailspin and all that. Yeah. So yeah, we still got those in the UK. They were fun. I just love them cartoons.
Of course, a new Doc Brown. Cool. If you guys have not hit your targets, start hitting your targets and scanning all their NECA. They're doing a clear out of NECA down to $8 a piece for a lot of stuff. Some of the King Kong, Back to the Future, some of the older stuff that's in the way of the new waves coming out. So you might check that out. Oh, that's cool. Well, behind me is very scattershot. I would say mostly everything that's behind me is either Star Wars or Star Trek. Along my top row is some Transformers, then Gargoyles, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Nightmare Before Christmas, The Addams Family, more Nightmare Before Christmas. And then it's kind of scattered. I've got some Mask stuff, The Shadow, Jurassic Park. I have a little bit of everything up on my wall behind me, including my Looneyville Choo Choo, which is one of the first toys I ever got in my life. I moved my head. This is hard to do backwards over here. But I got some Machine Wars Transformers and a cassette play, a real cassette player of Soundwave that I got while I was over in England one time. I'd never seen that before, so I had to purchase it, which meant purchasing another suitcase to bring it home in. Which was interesting. When I got to Heathrow, I had my normal suitcase, and they didn't care. I was blah, 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 blah. Then they scanned my other suitcase that had all my toy pickups. And they were like, And that was my first trip back in 1995. So long before any of this other crap happened. And they're like, "Sir, can we have you open this?" And I opened it, and they're like, what? I said, "I'm a toy collector. I was taken to a store that had original He-Man toys and all that stuff still on the shelves. I couldn't not buy them all." And the guy who was checking my bag said, "Really? What else did they have?" I was like, "Dude, they had some A-Team stuff. They had some Transformers, some Mask. I ran out of money, or I would have bought more." He was like, "Oh, where's that?" I said, "Well, it's a place called Jennings Toy Store. It's in North London." He said, "Okay, thank you. Be about your business." And I was like, somebody went shopping after work that day, I'm pretty sure. So what all's behind you?
So behind me, I've got it's hard to do this backwards, right? Yeah, I've got the Ewok play village, the village, just there. Then I've got my Jurassic Park car and T-Rex sort of hiding amongst it. And I've got a lot of the Disney Park exclusive stuff. Like I've got the Sandcrawler, and I've got the what's that the new ride that's out there?
Rise of the Resistance.
Rise of the Resistance. It's the dropship from that, so I've got that.
Cool.
I've got some of the toy box play sets that you can't really see. Along my top shelf is all my horror, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, and then a load of Marvel Legends on the bottom line. And then each of these little cubby holes are filled with a mixture of Disney toy box and other good stuff. So yeah, all mine are loose. I don't keep things in boxes.
I've seen Toy Story too many times. I see what those things do at night.
Yeah,
they won't kill me.
And then just here is all my dioramas that people have built for me that I use on my channel and stuff. Yep. So I've got like one that's meant to look like sort of Jeddah and that kind of setup, and then the other one is a Marvel sort of diorama street scene. And they're pretty cool for doing photography and stuff on.
I do have a little bit of everything. It is very true blue. They give me, when on the Pegwarmers, which is our show on Saturdays, they give me crap because somebody will say something. I'm like, "Oh yeah," and I'll grab one of them off my wall. No matter what it is, they're trying to come up with newer stuff, but I've been reworking my collection, and so I found a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't remember buying. But then I have found that I think I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. And I did go through a phase about 10 years ago where I sold a whole bunch of stuff, and I think I sold more stuff than I think I did. And now I'm kind of mad about it. But that's future Chris's problem whenever I get Time Machine to go back and kick past Chris's butt for selling stuff. So yeah, that'll get you. Oh, and Rob, if you go to Big Bad Toys and look up Super 7, they did just announce another Voltron figure, but I don't know what it is because they don't have pictures yet. It's just the thing, and I think it's just another 6-inch version of Voltron, kind of like the Devastator they did in the Transformers line. And they did do some Robotechs, which are really cool. Yeah, that Cobra Bat's going to be cool. I also liked in these reaction figures, they're doing different colored troopers, different colored base troopers for both Joe and Cobra. So they go from kind of white all the way to African American, and so there's 4 different Cobra troopers and 4 different Joe foot soldier guys. So you can army build how you want your army to be. It's pretty cool.
So with you being the 1000th ghost, then have you got much Haunted Mansion merchandise?
I have more than I need more, but the problem with the Haunted Mansion is everything is so expensive.
Yes.
I do have a whole section up behind, which you can't see because it's behind figures at the moment. I've got all the Funkos. I've got a whole bunch of little statues and things like that I've gotten from the park. But only the past couple years, when over here Hot Topic, which I don't know if you know what Hot Topic is. It's a goth store, or it used to be. Now it's a Funko store, basically. Now every year, since the 50th anniversary, they've been getting a lot of affordable Haunted Mansion stuff, and I know one of their buyers, and he was amazed that it sold. I was like, "Are you kidding? I've been telling you for years that stuff would work perfectly in your store." But then now I have towels, and I have stupid stuff for the Haunted Mansion now. But I always have my mansion sitting right here.
Nice.
I was happy to get that, and I did buy all of the. I don't know where he went. I did buy all of the ones that came in the ghosts that came in little containers. And push them down. I don't know what happened to him. Oh, there he is. But I do get a lot. And what's funny is when I was a little kid, the first time we went to Disney World back in 80 or something, I was scared to death of that place. And, because I didn't understand. So they made ghosts in a jar. And so there's 8 of them.
That is cool.
And then it has different lines from the ride.
Family, friends, next of kin, summon a spirit from the mansion.
I love those.
On my desk right in front of me.
I love that thing.
A little Doom Buggy.
Yeah.
I got that last time we went to the park. So we also, here in the UK, last Halloween, they released a Madame Leota, and you put water inside the bottom of it, and it creates mist that comes out of it, and the head glows and sort of moves around slowly.
We got
in the living room. I can't really get to it. Didn't you guys get like a proper animatronic one though, like a proper decent one, or we got the crappy one?
Sort of. The problem with her is
yours is better than ours.
that her hair gets in her way of her face. And
Serpents and spiders, tail of a rat, call in the spirits wherever they're at.
so I was super happy. Now, but this was $70.
Damn.
So they know they got us. And so I'm afraid what Spirit Halloween is going to, and that's where the store that had it, is going to have this year for it. Because now they know they're suckers like me who are going to buy that thing. And they could put out some headstones, all this, and that's where, if you're a fan of Halloween stuff, the movie Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Spirit stores over here are temporary Halloween stores that go up in about the last week of August, first week of September-ish usually. And they go through the first or second week of November. They're the ones who really pushed to get merchandise for Hocus Pocus. At first it was just some t-shirts and it was other stuff. And then finally Funko made stuff for it. There's a new Funko I have to get this year for it. Which my Funko collection, that's...
Yeah, I think isn't it Danny this year they're releasing?
Yeah, it's Danny this year. So I'm going to have to get that. But they've done really well, and they like picking these smaller things. And again, I ask for these things, but then when people actually make them and I have to spend money on them. All right, blue. I assume it was out of package and had just rolled back into the wall. No, no blue, no Disney Hot Toys. No, bad blue. That would kill me. Can you imagine a really nice hot toy of like Jafar or Hades or Ursula?
I hope it never happens. It's bad enough when they release those really fancy dolls in the box, and my wife's like, "We can get one of those." Like, no, we have to remortgage the house first.
Yeah, and I saw those at the Disney store, and sadly, we're losing almost all our Disney stores in America.
No, same here.
Yeah,
gone already.
They'll show them, and I'm like, oh wow, those are really nice. $300. Okay, never mind. They can be really nice as a picture I can look at the internet on all the time. And I'm the opposite way. I keep almost everything in package, mostly because I have a tendency to lose things if they're not in packages, because then they get put in bags or in boxes, because that's not how my collection functions. So at the moment, I don't have anywhere to put loose stuff. Although I am going to change my living room into more open stuff, because I still have all my open Transformers and lots of Star Wars stuff when I was a kid. And so I'd like to get all that loose stuff out. I just don't have anywhere. I don't have those cool shelves like you. I do, but I fill them with box stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my living room and kind of do that for some loose stuff. Also, I live in dread of coming home and having them all fallen off, having the domino effect. One of them has fallen over and taken everybody else out. But that was before somebody turned me on to, I don't have any of them, just the little Star Cases sells them. They're just the pegs that you can sit them on, and it'll stop them from moving.
Yeah, I don't use that. I've just got every figure's got a slight bit of wire just around the feet, and I make a little base. Just a flat, wrap it around the foot and just a little flat, and it just they stay up perfectly.
Yeah.
No, I've only ever had one or two fall.
That is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And see, Rob, I'm just the opposite way. I hate Black Series. I do own a whole bunch of them. And I don't own a whole bunch of Marvel Legends because I've always been a 3 3/4 inch figure collector. So those Marvel retro figures and the Super 7 stuff, that sucks me in every time. But then they make some really nice stuff. NECA and McFarlane. Apart from a Batman, a Superman, and a Harley, I haven't bought any of that McFarlane DC stuff. I was only going to buy the animated series stuff. And now he's going to suck me in, and we might as well talk about it while we're kind of at McFarlane. Something you put on your channel just a couple days ago was news that McFarlane has picked up and is producing figures for a new Disney game app.
Yeah, so you've got the Disney Mirrorverse coming out very soon. It looks to be a sort of take on sort of Kingdom Hearts kind of a thing, mixed in with a bit of Sorcerer's Apprentice. It seems to be that they go through this mirror, like a magic mirror, and go into a different world. And when they go over there, they get different powers depending on their sort of character. So Sully's using one of those, the cars that all the yellow guys turn up in from Monsters Inc.
Uh-huh.
He's basically covered himself in the armor of one of those guys because he's got the A113 written on his arm, which I quite like.
I wondered what that was. I thought it might have just been one of those suits that he couldn't fit in, and so he's just kind of spilling out of everything.
Yeah, it's one of the guys from when the kids come into their world and they want to clear it up. It's one of them suits apparently, and he's like covered himself up in it. Then they've got two different lines, which is insane. So they've got the 7-inch line, which they've developed 2 figures for so far, which is Jack Sparrow and Buzz Lightyear. And then they've got a 5-inch line where they've announced Sully, Mickey Mouse, Goofy, Belle. I think that's it. Is that it? That might be it.
I think so.
I think
There's
that's
only
all.
like 5 and then 2, I thought.
Yeah, 5 and 2. But they just put the things out today for the Belle figure. You saw all her sort of release details today, and she looks awesome. I really like the Belle. She looks really cool. But yeah, I'm going to be getting them, I think, the 7-inch ones especially. Yeah. But I say that, and I'll get all of them anyway.
I will too. I'll complain that they're not in boxes, but I'll buy them and I can put the pegs up. You can't see in front of me. I've actually got all my peg stuff around me. So I'm sure I can find room for them.
The awesome part of the news, though, which I only got yesterday after I made my video, was that there's going to be park integration across all the parks, so including the ones overseas. So Paris, Florida, California, Tokyo, and China. They're all going to have an exclusive, apparently. So I don't know what that's going to be, and they're going to be based on the park icons. So I can only think that's going to be like Orange Bird, Tiki Room. It's going to be the stuff that Walt built for the parks. So maybe Haunted Mansion even. Yeah. If they built a Haunted Mansion set in McFarlane,
that would be god awful. I would purchase them all, just like I had to get. I could not get the Batmobile or any of the figures, but I do have a Batcave coming from his new '66 Batman line.
Oh, I got that too.
Which it was. I was interested to see that it's a completely different packaging than the rest of the DC stuff he's doing. Mm-hmm. So that's a line he's going to continue. He wouldn't have created packaging just for 3 figures.
No, definitely not.
So it'll be interesting to see how far he goes along with it. I would love to get a really nice Riddler. And did you see the Mattel ones they did of the '66 Batman? Yeah. I would be happy if he just repackaged those, really. He does such a great job, but those were great figures. I just didn't get to them in time, and they were just sold out.
I think they'll definitely do the iconic sort of Joker with a surfboard. They'll definitely do that for sure.
Yeah. It'll probably be a 2-pack with him and Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And, what's nice about that series is Batman didn't wear a ton of different outfits, so he can't do a ton of Batman every series. But I'd like the next wave to be like Batgirl and Mr. Freeze and like the Riddler. Yeah. And then I would really like them to do a Commissioner Gordon.
Mm-hmm. I'd also really like to see, the different versions of Catwoman, because I'd like Eartha Kitt and, all the different Catwomen. That'd be cool as well.
I would love to finally get an Eartha Kitt figure. They always do Julie Newmar. I love Julie Newmar. She was one of the friendliest persons I've ever met. But an Eartha Kitt would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, so would an Yzma figure in the new Mirrorverse line. I'd love a 2-pack with her and Kronk.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
From looking at the sort of artwork and things that they put out, and the video, the sort of shots that we're using from the game in the press release, seems to point towards the next release being Oogie Boogie, Maleficent, Jack Skellington. Those were the 3 that weren't chosen to be part of the line, but were featured in the little, picture icons that they're chosen from the game. So
that would make sense, because then if the first wave comes out around August or so, then they could put out a Halloween villains wave type thing with Nightmare Before Christmas and stuff around Halloween. That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
TMNT 2 cool. I mean, I do like that NECA's making tons of stuff for Turtles.
My only thing with NECA doing Turtles is the fact that they always do them as 2-packs, and that makes them really expensive to pick up.
Yeah.
If they released them singly, I'd probably pick and choose more of the characters from the line, but I just can't get into the line because they come as 2-packs, and that's
well, and that's the genius of it, because in a way they're not creating Pegwarmers.
Yeah, that is the best part, I suppose.
Some of the cartoon ones, like the dinosaur 2-pack and stuff like that, they finally kind of started hanging out on the shelves. But anything from the movies, it just blows out as soon as you see them.
I don't
blame you, Fabulous.
I think it's really funny, like when you say obviously like you came over here and went to our toy stores and got really excited. I think it's funny because like when I come over there, I'm the same. I remember going to Walmart when I first came over there, early 2000s. I was a kid with my parents, and I was like one of those. I'm walking down, just picking them off the aisle and like taking them with me.
And it's the same thing for both of us, because that was the first time I'd been to England, and not only did I never think I'd see 10-year-old figures still on peg hooks, which was awesome, and he was super happy I was buying stuff, but we don't get Red Dwarf stuff, we don't get Monty Python stuff, we don't get Danger Mouse, Banana Man, all that kind of stuff. Banana Man. And So it was cool to see stuff over there. We don't get Corgi stuff really unless you go to a model store and they carry Corgi. So it was cool to pick up a couple Corgi James Bond cars. And we, of course, at that time got no Doctor Who. DePaul did not ship over here. So I was able to pick up a few of those at Forbidden Planet. And it was cool to see stuff, you know, real Avengers, not Marvel Avengers. And stuff like that on the shelves, and to be able to buy stuff. And of course Playmobil. Over here you really only, for a long time, you only got Playmobil in like educational toy stores.
All right.
Now Target and Walmart carry them. Walmart carries them all the time, and Target carries it at Christmas. So now we actually get some stuff, but we don't get all of it. I think that's why they're deliberately making licensed stuff now. That definitely. New James Bond Aston Martin Playmobil is awesome. I can't wait to get that. The A-Team van. If they're doing A-Team, it's only one step forward to do Kit from Knight Rider.
Oh, it'll definitely happen because they've done the DeLorean, they're doing the A-Team van. Yeah, it's coming up, isn't it? It's got to be.
Yep, I bought the Mystery Machine. I've got the Ecto-1. But over here, like I had to have my buddy in England send me these. We don't get the little figures, and we just don't get the history figures. These are cool. A whole bunch of Roman and Greek dudes, but they're testing this stuff. They made Scooby-Doo ones, and Scooby's in a whole bunch of different costumes. So if those do well, we might actually start getting some stuff. But
did you see the Star Trek set on Entertainment Earth? That was a set and a half, wasn't
it? You're killing me, Smalls. I mean, I'm like, I don't have that kind of money.
No,
I don't even have that kind of space on a credit card left where I could pre-order it and they could hold it. So I'm trying to save up for it. As a Star Trek collector, I have to have it. It's too cool not to have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for $500, that's a big. I'm surprised they're making it so expensive. I know some of the bigger Playmobil sets with like the forts and stuff are a couple $100. But when they first said it was that much, I was like, that can't be right.
But yeah, I know like Playmobil over here, they've just released the big Egyptian pyramid. Like the whole front opens up. That's a really cool set as well. So there's some great Playmobil sets.
So Rob wants to know, so what's up? What are you looking forward to here in the next couple months? Because I know we've had a lot of San Diego Comic-Con announcements, and Mattel's getting into the whole HasLab thing. You probably don't collect a lot of wrestling figures.
I've got some. I haven't got many. I've got some.
Mattel is making a thing just like a HasLab thing, but it's the main entrance for the WWE, and it plays all kinds of different entrance tunes, and it has lights, and it looks pretty cool. But
yeah, WWE and stuff, I try not to get into it too much because there's so many different versions, releases, and I'm a 6-inch collector, so that would drive me bonkers trying to keep up with that. Especially because half of them don't even make it to the UK, which is really annoying. Smiths are doing a very good job at keeping us stocked, but the AEW line I've been collecting just because I've been able to get them from the beginning.
It's crazy that you guys have those. We cannot find them in the stores. And then I'll look at Mark's video and there's wave 5. I have a friend. I'm like, if you want, Mark, I'll pick them up for you. He's like, no, I'll eventually find them.
Yeah, I just got the Matt Hardy one the other day, finally. Broken Hardy. Really happy about that. But yeah, because I could get them from like figure 1, I've sort of collected that line. I've really tried not to get into the WWE stuff. I've got so far? I've got The Fiend from the modern stuff, like Bray Wyatt. I've got all the versions of Bray Wyatt. And I've got The Rock and Triple H from like the 90s eras, and Stone Cold I got the other day from the 90s era. But I try not to get too many.
Yeah. What do you think of the HasLab Rancor?
I can't wait for that.
Maybe pick up that.
When it comes to HasLab, I tend to not pick stuff like that up because of the price.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys know, I tend to put like maybe 1 to 2 videos out a day, and that's if I was to buy sort of the Galacticus or the Rancor or anything, that would be like a whole month's figure supply money gone. Yeah. So I can put 1 video out that month. So I'd rather buy 4 waves of Marvel Legends than 1 big sort of thing. That's how I view it.
I don't know. I need to see it. I have not. I should have gotten Jabba's sail barge.
Yeah, I remember when that came out.
That I should have gotten. I wasn't a big fan of the Razor Crest. I love the ship and I love the show. And I was happy I did not get it. Then the following episode, they blew it up. So I was happy not to have picked that up. And I'm not a huge Marvel fan, so I didn't get either the Sentinel or the Galactus. But the Rancor I might. It just depends on how big it is and what it comes with.
Yeah.
What the stretch goals are, that kind of thing.
I'd be really intrigued to see what they put with it. Are they going to give us maybe a new Jedi Luke to go with it? Maybe if they reach a certain goal, that'd be good. But yeah, I was trying to think what they could actually put with it as a stretch goal.
If they're going to do stretch goals, I would like them to put Ula the Dancing Girl.
Yeah.
That'd be a first Black Series figure for her, and the Rancor Keeper.
Yeah.
Those could be 2 stretch goals that might push me over the edge. Also, of course, they're going to have the big bone so that we could, with what Lukes we have, because they're going to, that same Luke, they're going to put back out in Mandalorian packaging.
Yep.
And it's not like he changed outfits in, 5 years. That's the thing that they needed to do. They should have, to try and mask who he was, they should have went out of their way to make him look different. But, you can only do so much.
Yeah. It's funny you should mention Ula, because Femi Taylor goes to like every convention I've been to in the last 10 years. She's always there.
Well, and that's the other thing that, I envy about you guys is because Star Wars, all the Star Wars films were filmed there. You guys have a huge amount of people who can come.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Doctor Who.
Yeah, Sylvester McCoy's always there. I've spoken with Sylvester McCoy so many times. He's awesome. He's
hilarious, and Colin Baker's nice. Peter Davison is probably the nicest doctor I've ever met.
Yeah.
Because mostly I talked to him, while I wasn't a big fan of his doctor, I really love things like The Last Detective. And he's on, all these other shows, and I'll actually talk to him about other things than Doctor Who. And I think he's happy that somebody's not asking him questions about Doctor Who, or, his daughter marrying another doctor. Very weird. But, and then, over here, that's most all the horror and stuff is filmed over here. So we get big horror conventions over here that people in England I know are like, oh, I wish I could go. The Scream Fest down in Texas, that would be cool. But yeah, I watched some of the London shows or Birmingham and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that would be cool to get. And I text my buddy, say, hey, are you going? He's like, yes, I'm going. Sweet. Pick me up some of your autographs, and I'll get you the money. I do like Mezco, but I don't own anything they've made. I would love to get the new Mezco Planet of the Apes stuff. They've made a set with Caesar and I think 4 gorillas from was it Battle for the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
That's nice, very expensive. And then there's a Dr. Zaius that is really cool. But I have a hard time spending $100 on a 6-inch figure.
Well, I got excited recently, speaking of Planet of the Apes, because I know Mego are starting to put back out Planet of the Apes, because they did obviously the play sets and stuff back in the 70s and 80s. And I know they're starting to put back out now the Planet of the Apes with their new sort of relaunched Mego line.
And they're they're going to get deep into stuff, apparently.
Good.
Apparently, he's picked up licenses for almost every major franchise. And he's going to start making stuff for them.
That's cool.
So it'll be interesting to see if it's like Back to the Future and Predator and what those look like in Amigo's style. I was surprised Amigo was able to actually come back and actually have any kind of presence.
I think it's because they're very nostalgic. Like as soon as I picked up the first one I got was Spock. So I mean that just instantly felt nostalgic to my childhood of having that sort of Mego Spock in the cloth costume. And then it just spiraled from there. I've got the Headless Horseman, I've got all sorts of horror ones now.
See, we haven't seen the Headless Horseman one yet. I will buy it when I see it. I just saw the Christopher Lee Hammer Dracula.
Oh yeah.
That looks cool. Nice. I may pick that up. There's a Phantom from the Red Opera. I might get that. I did just pick up Willy Wonka and Q. But I was surprised because over here when he launched with Star Trek, which was great. But he also launched with stuff like The Love Boat and Cheers and Facts of Life and Happy Days. Okay, Happy Days I understood and I bought a couple of, but why? And Married with Children, which was another weird one. And Bewitched. I think it's stuff that he could pick up cheap to start.
Yeah.
But then once he started getting Universal Monsters and Star Trek, and he's hinted that he has a Star Wars license.
That would be amazing.
It will be interesting to see because he says that he's picked up everything for every major license, including one in the 70s he lost and always regretted. And Mego was the first person they went to do Star Wars toys. So it'll be interesting to see. I do not know what that is. There's a Tom Baker Hot Toyish type thing. That would be cool. I'm going to have to go look and see what Big Chief Studios is. That would be another horror, is if Hot Toys or NECA started doing Doctor Who. Shut your mouth.
That would be atrocious.
Oh my goodness. They are moving forward with Hocus Pocus 2. It may be out this year. I don't think so. But the original cast is back. They don't explain nothing for the plot that I've seen so far explains anything about why they're back or anything. And I'm not sure if all the kids are back. Or if it's just the Sanderson sisters.
Well, I think the one girl's still acting, isn't she? I forgot the girl that played Danny, who's now about my age. I think she's still kicking about because she was in The Hole with Keira Knightley and stuff.
Yep. So she was still doing some stuff, and other than that, everybody's kind of retired. But
Omri Katz is like a waiter or something in some little cafe somewhere. Apparently, just living out his days now.
Yeah, he's happily going about his business.
Just receiving paychecks every year from Hocus Pocus near Indiana.
Yeah. A Wasp Hot Toy would be cool. I think they've already done a Nebula one, but nice.
Yeah.
I almost bought that Super 7 Snake Mountain.
Oh.
Dear God, that thing's huge. I almost went for it, and I was like, no, I can't get into these $500 set things because it was around the same time as the sail barge. And I was like, well, you got to choose. Well, I chose neither. And then they made Unicron. And I'm a huge Transformers fan, especially the 86 movie, because there's only been one Transformers movie, and it was in 1986. But I'm glad I didn't because the packaging sucks. It's in a big brown box with Unicron pictures on the side. It's not even in color. It's like, come on, Hasbro. I was never going to open it anyway. Could have used it as an end table from the looks of it, though. All right, CBOE. Yes, and why aren't there more of those? I know they sold well. That's the other thing with Super 7 is it confuses me when they just stop making things. Like those Mars Attacks figures they made 3 3/4, those are beautiful. The artwork is incredible on them, and they just stopped. and now they're making Garbage Pail Kids in 3 3/4 inch figures coming.
Yeah, they're cool.
Ah, damn it! All right, stupid Super 7.
R.L. Stein's been putting out some books as well, hasn't he, for Garbage Pail Kids recently?
Yeah,
I saw those the other day in my local store. Like, that's different.
It's interesting. I know they've been talking about doing a new movie for the Garbage Pail Kids, and I was like, no, the old one's perfect. It's so horrible, you can't improve on it.
Well, I think that's another thing that's like it's not something that's not really been over here for long as Garbage Pail Kids. As it's kind of going through its resurgence, that's when we've seen it. Mm-hmm. I knew of it, but it was never like a big thing over here at any point. So it's like the new stuff's sort of coming over here as they're trying to push it, again now.
When I was in school and stuff, those cards were banned. You could actually get in trouble, like up to a whooping in school, because kids. We all had lockers, and then kids were putting the stickers inside the lockers, and then they had to take time to scrape all those off every summer, and then maybe in some cases even repaint. But yeah, and then I stopped collecting them for like 20 years, and then about the time they started making a resurgence again, I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy these. And now, of course, Target and Walmart over here don't sell cards anymore, so now I have to get them from my comic book store. But yes, I do every time. I don't know if you've had a chance to see those episodes of South Park with Mickey in them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, those guys. I miss them. They need to get off their lazy butts and start putting out some new episodes.
They did the pandemic episodes, didn't they? Did you see them?
They did. They did those 2 new episodes. It's like, that's not a season. Come on.
Well, I think it was because weren't they working like just them 2 on it again, like back in the day? Isn't it just because Trey and Matt were making it and that was it?
Well, they still had all their normal people were just working from home.
Yeah.
So I guess what they'd said was that they could only do so much rendering and stuff.
Yeah.
Over it, and it's like, well, come on. Yeah, all those rides over at Universal, I was surprised when they started taking all that stuff out. But they got Potter, and that's I
suppose the problem. I was upset when they removed things like Terminator 3D because that was my favorite thing as a kid. I was a massive Arnold fan, so that was my favorite show ride, whatever we call it. Every time I went to Universal, but I suppose we're going to be the last generation that knows what the hell Jaws even is. And Back to the Future, sadly, kids don't know what that is. So they have replaced it with things that can see it through the next 20 years, like your Transformers and your Minions and all that kind of stuff. It'll take some getting used to, but they have put Kong back, haven't they? In Florida, we've got the new Kong ride. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good thing about Godzilla versus Kong was at least you get, something with Kong, coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tina.
I wish the Universal Monsters had more of a presence in the parks. I really do. They could do a lot with the Universal Monsters with a ride and stuff. They've never, ever sort of done it.
I think they have to try and figure out it's the story. I think that's, about, I don't know, when the MCU started, they were trying to come up with the dark
verse.
The dark verse. Well, it's very hard to connect those. And it can't be done. It was already done perfectly by Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. The best crossover movie of all time. But how do you work in, Frankenstein's monster with Dracula, with the Mummy? They're all in different time eras.
Yeah.
They wouldn't work. They don't work well together. I just don't know how a ride, unless you did thematic rides, like it's a Universal Monsters ride, and this is just about the werewolf, and this is just about this creature from the Black Lagoon, and it's kind of that kind of a ride.
Well, I was thinking maybe like when Disney did the Great Movie Ride.
Yes,
you do something like that, and sort of like this is Universal's old horror, and then they could even work it through to like the Mummy with Brendan Fraser, and then the newer Draculas, and they could kind of do it from the very beginning of the Universal Monster line right to the modern.
That would be cool. That would work out pretty well. And they're getting ready to remove the Mummy anyway, so they could use that building to create that. Because Universal Horror Nights is a huge thing,
big draw.
So you would think they'd be really pushing toward that. But yeah, I'm kind of sad that the Dark Verse didn't work, but we don't need more verses.
No, we don't.
I think the Marvel universe is good enough. I don't know how they can fix the DC universe apart from Flashpoint, just resetting everything and starting over from scratch. I don't know how they can fix that. I actually came up with my own multiverse type thing of 4 serial characters. So over here we have like Captain Crunch and Coco the Bird. So I actually created a spec script, just a quick outline of basically it was kind of taking Treasure Island and a couple episodes of Scooby-Doo and mixing it together. So you hired the captain to take you to this supposedly haunted island because you were looking for a treasure. And on there is the captain, of course, is Captain Crunch. His deckhands are, of course, Snap, Crackle, and Pop from Rice Krispies. And also you have Cocoa Bird from Cocoa Puffs. And that's the main crew. Plus, it was going to, of course, have kids because every stupid movie like this has kids in it. And then when you get to the island, you find out the island is actually haunted by Count Chocula, Frankenberry, Boo Berry, the Fruit Brute, and on the island was this little insane guy, and it's actually the Lucky Charms guy. And I spec'd it out okay. It wasn't too bad, but I showed it to people, and they're like, this works too well. You need to stop this because somebody will do this. But hey, Dave, how you doing? That I will pick that up. That's another movie that, yes, it's a horror movie, but it's also funny. And
it's a classic.
It's a classic. It's an 80s classic, and
it's like Lost Boys. I don't consider that a horror film by any means. That's just a cheesy comic book.
Yeah, it's not. That's 80s horror is very not horror to me. Even Freddy and Jason and stuff like that, and Chucky, they all had wit to them. Jason not so much because he just wanders around and kills people having sex, which that teaches them a lesson. But still, getting there was funny, and there's almost no movie funnier than Freddy versus Jason. That movie was
ridiculous.
What up, Dave? How you doing? That reminds me of that, of course, coming up this year, we've got Ghostbusters 3. I can't wait for that. They really need to start putting out some trailers for stuff.
Yeah,
needs to be
I think the toys as well got delayed. We've still got a toy line to come yet.
Yeah. Well, and I'm kind of happy that we haven't started seeing the toy lines show up yet. I would assume those will start showing up around August for the new Ghostbusters. And so
the Mini Stay Puft is going to be the next Baby Groot.
Oh yeah,
and
they're way too cute
and all that.
Funko's just like, oh yes, no. Oh, how many of these can we make? But the sail barge is going for a little over $2,000 last time I saw one.
Yep.
And I did not pick up Unicron, although I do have several Unicron from back, Armada and all that stuff. So I'm okay with Unicrons. But I did kind of want this one. But because it would go well with my 86 studio line. But now here's a gentleman who has a cool retro channel. He has all kinds of really cool 60s, 50s and 60s and 70s toys and stuff. If you guys can, please go subscribe. Cinnamon Cat Models, Comics and Toys. Really cool. He's a big fan of Sid and Marty Krofft. So he's got some stuff from Land of the Lost and now I can't remember the other one I was actually going to talk about. Yeah, so many new Migos that are cool. Yeah, I knew you'd love those, Simon. They're great.
Whoop. Just throw him a little follow there. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been watching some of his videos, and I think I'm actually going to change some stuff I do in my videos onto what he does. Not as a copy, but as an homage. Because I have a whole bunch of stuff that I only have like one of, and I don't really think I could fill a decent sized video with it. But I think I could talk about it for like 5 or 7 minutes ish and put it out. Because I always feel like if I'm going to show any part of my collection, I need to have like 5 or 6 things to talk about. But you know, I just picked up I don't know if you've ever heard of a show called Rin Tin Tin. Yeah. So I just picked up a puzzle from it for like $10. It's beautiful. I love the packaging. I'm not sure if all the pieces are there yet. I'll actually put it together because it's not like 1,000-piece puzzle. It's like a kid's puzzle. But I'd love to do a video on that. But I'm like, I can't do a video on that. You know, first of all, nobody's going to watch it. And secondly, it's only going to be like 3 minutes long. But I've watched him do it, and I have seen how I can pull smaller set things out. And so I'm definitely going to do that.
You'd be surprised what people will sit and watch. Things like I've started getting into doing some of the shorts and things like that because those blow up so fast. YouTube are really pushing the shorts thing right now for some reason.
Yeah.
So those are kind of working.
We just had somebody who's just got rid of all their shorts. Actually created a second channel just for his shorts because he found that those were driving too much views away from his normal videos. And his normal videos had dropped like a quarter because nobody was watching them anymore. They'd come and look at the shorts and then leave.
Yeah.
And so he's actually moved. He's doing a test, he said, for a month or so. He's moved all those to a completely separate channel. And he's already seen a new uptick in hours on his normal channel again. Because they're so short, he thought they were actually hurting his channel. So I want to try some shorts too, just because, you know, I can do some short stuff. You know, if I only happen to pick up 3 or 4 Funkos a day or something, I can show those off.
I don't think, from what I understand, and I have very limited knowledge on this, but the YouTube analytics actually separate shorts views and regular views. Because I've got 2 on my thing. I have 2 different view counts. I have a shorts views and I have an over channel views when I do my analytics. So the short
you
views.
Put those in, do you hashtag them shorts, or do you have an actual file?
No, it's hashtag shorts, and you can upload them from the phone now, from the mobile. You just upload them straight away. It says create a short on the app now.
Oh, that's nice.
You do it that way, and it just does it automatically. You don't need to put the hashtag in anymore. As long as they're filmed lengthways and they're done via the app, it's automatically a short. And ever since I've started doing that, I have a different analytic on my thing now. So I think they have sort of corrected it a little bit.
I might try some of those because I wanted to do some shorts, but I can't. I don't want them. My channel's small enough as it is, but I don't want it to hurt the overall channel. But I know there's Sleeping Collectibles has started doing some shorts too, and I wanted to talk to him and see what he was watching because he's got about 2,500 or almost wandering in on 3,000 subs now, and I wanted to see what it was doing for him.
Well, I mean, I've been doing this now since 2016, and I'm on 33,000 subs on YouTube, and I've never settled to do one thing. My channel's been all over the place for years because I don't settle to one thing. I get bored very easily. So I think because I change things up all the time, I think that does keep the analytics fresh and people come back quite regular. So sometimes change can be good.
Yeah, true.
I've watched so many channels over the years that have tried to do the toy stuff and fizzle out very quickly because they get bored.
Yeah.
So
it can be if like I was doing a whole bunch of my collection videos as I was reworking my collection, and now I'm to the point where I'm not reworking my collection anymore, and it would be a pain in the butt to go out to the garage, get the box, get everything set up just to put it back in the box and put it back in the garage. But shorts or something, then I could just, do some of them from the garage. I could do 3 or 4 quickly without having to edit them and all that other stuff. But
because like I struggle to talk about like sometimes I love to show off what Funkos I've got, but I struggle to talk about them for more than a minute. So that's when the shorts come in. The perfect, like I did the Ratigan one the other day, and I did it as a reel for Instagram, and I thought, well, it's the same thing. I just upload it straight to YouTube, and I did the exact same thing, and it worked.
yeah.
So I mean,
well, and I love that figure. Great Mouse Detective or Basil of Baker Street, depending on where you are. I love that film. It is highly underrated.
Is
I had to get all of those when they came out, because that's another film you just don't see anything made for.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a weird, like, I'm still amazed there's no Atlantis stuff from Funko.
Yeah. Nothing.
Or Treasure Planet. You know, there's or the Rescuers, or the Rescuers Down Under.
Even Disney themselves though don't talk about those films anymore, really.
Well, we have a store over here called Box Lunch, and they're a division of Hot Topic. They have shirts and stuff for all those movies, but they're for girls. They're for women, and they don't have anything for men. And they have like 6 different Robin Hood shirts. I would love to purchase, but I can't, because they're all either they hate fat people, or they're just for girls and ladies. And it's like, I want a shirt. I want that shirt, you know. But AWD Fig, how you doing? Yeah. And that's kind of how my collection began. Videos kind of slowed down. Was I kind of felt like I had to make new videos, and as soon as I had to make them, they became another job. And I already have a job. I work 69 or more hours at a week. I don't need another job when I come home. So that's why I'm trying to rethink my channel a little bit and stuff like that. And I'd like to do more stuff like this, more live chatting with people around the community. Not bad, Dave. Was sick earlier, but actually I'm feeling much better now. It could be all the drugs I took before we started. But I'll know in the morning how I feel. But Dave does 3D printing, and wow, just wow. I don't understand how there's certain things in life that, being a Gen X person, I just will not understand. I don't understand how CDs work. I don't understand how 3D printing works at all. I can watch it and I'm like, that's interesting, but I don't understand how it takes a computer program and it can make, like, he's made the throne from the Book of Boba Fett. The Jabba's, Bib Fat Tuna's one. And I don't get how that works. And he make tables and stuff for, and I'm sure it's because I'm used to, you make molds and you make the mold, you make the toy, and it pops out. I don't get how 3D printing works. They're going to do a whole bunch of new 3D printed houses over here for homeless people, and I don't get how that works. How is that faster than just building a house out of cinder blocks? But what is the grail of your collection, or what are you looking for as a grail?
I've got one figure that I did consider my grail for a long time. It was the Toy Biz Warpath from the X-Men, because it was such a hard figure to get a hold of. It came in a fancy 2-pack at a Toys R Us exclusive from years ago, but I managed to track one down thanks to the community on Facebook. Managed to get one, so I was really happy. He's behind me somewhere around here. But yeah, other than that, my only other sort of grail, if we would call it that, would have been the Ewoks. I really wanted that playset, and I struggled to find one for years. And so many people were telling me, "Oh, you could just get the Sherwood Forest one. Just get the Robin Hood one. It's identical." I'm like, no, I want the Ewoks one. I want the proper one. And I finally found one on eBay, of all places, for a reasonable price, and it's more or less all intact. But yeah, some people have been 3D printing stuff for me to put on it.
Yeah, that one is one my grandmother gave me years ago when Return of the Jedi came out. But now I am actually looking for the Sherwood Forest one.
Yeah.
Because it's the last piece of the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves stuff I'm missing, and I never bought it back in the day. And it's actually really hard to get a hold of. And of course, I would love the box to come with it. Once I get my loose stuff set up, maybe I would buy it loose. But, you know.
Well, I'm doing a video in a week's time then that you're going to really like. I'm going to the Robin Hood Museum in Sherwood Forest, Nottingham. Nice. And they have a entire room just dedicated to Robin Hood toys because I donated 4 toys for it from the Disney line. Because I had a couple of statues of Robin Hood and stuff, and he ended up buying them from me. I ended up giving him a few things as well for the thing. And he's invited me down to come do the filming. And they've got like a little dark ride that you go through the village, and they've got animatronics and stuff. So
that's
really
cool.
Look forward to doing that. Yeah, and he's actually in Sherwood Forest, so I mean that's really cool.
Wonder if they were able to get a whole bunch of like since it was filmed over there, if they got a whole bunch of props and things like that. I would be interested to see a little room of just stuff like that.
But I know he's got a lot of the Prince of Thieves stuff. He's got a lot of the Prince of Thieves stuff when I went down.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy watching that video.
Yeah, Robert, you know, Bib did gain some pounds, which is funny because it's only 5 years. I mean, he really packed some pounds on in those 5 years. If this had been like sequel era, I'd have been like, okay, in like 20 years, he put on some weight. But, you know, COVID hit him hard. And, you know, oh, yeah, Dave, your stuff is incredible. I really wish you'd open an Etsy store so we could buy stuff. But I understand how hard it is to make that 3D printed stuff, too. You just can't whip it out in a couple hours. You know, it takes a long time to make still, even with some of the newer stuff. Yeah, even Boba got a dad bod. Which is funny because what was great is the episode with Timothy Olmosson, and he's such a skinny dude. And so then the armor looked wrong on him because it was too big for him. But then we saw it later, and it's too small for Boba now. But do you watch The Bad Batch?
Oh, yeah. Love The Bad Batch.
What did you think of the last episode?
I really, really enjoyed it. I'm loving the sort of backstory for Hera and stuff and Chopper.
And that's, you know, I know there's people who complain. It's like, it's not really about them anymore. It's about, well, yeah, but it doesn't need to be about them. You know, initially when the show was announced, what I wanted was the A-Team in space. I wanted them to be constantly on the run, moving, but helping people. And now it would have been Crosshairs, but whoever for the Empire was trying to track them down. And so it had just been the A-Team in space. And now I see that would not have worked in Star Wars very well.
Well, it's basically like the one. It's like they wanted to continue Clone Wars, but the Clone Wars are over, so they can't call it Clone Wars. So Bad Batch is just a continuation of that, basically, before Rebels. So it's the lead up into Rebels, isn't it? Really, they're just filling a time gap.
Yeah, they're still going to have a 13-year time gap or more between. Well, I guess it would be almost 14 years. I would also like to know how much time has elapsed between the beginning of the season and now, because this really seems like the Empire has taken over everything too quick. There's too many new uniforms, too much new equipment, and all this stuff wasn't just sitting somewhere waiting to be used one day when he flipped the switch to the Empire, and there you go. Now everybody has new signage. It's not how that works on a galactic-wide thing. So I would like to know if this has slowly taken place over like a year. That this whole season will be a year.
Because I'd like to see them do the stories as well with Sabine, like Sabine creating the weapon that eradicated her people and all that kind of stuff. And then we can see maybe Kanan get a little bit older and reappear again and things like that. See,
I don't think we're ever going to see Kanan again.
Oh, that'd be a shame.
Because you can't have too much crossover of the crew of Rebels, because then it would make them getting together different. Because that book has already been written. So, and Sabine would only be 4.
It was
at this point.
Yeah, very young child at this point.
Very young, and of course, Ezra's
not even born yet.
Yeah, he's 1 or 2 because he is actually born on Empire Day, and he's a day or so younger than Luke and Leia.
Mm.
So you won't have him in anything at all. And then you have what I want to see as another crossover is, of course, you have the Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Din is also a toddler at this point because he's around the same age. Because we saw in the season 1 that he's about 3, maybe 4 at the end of the Clone Wars. And then you also have Poe Dameron, not Poe, guy from Rogue One, I mean. Cassian. So Cassian should be at least 10 or so now. So he could show up too. Because we have to think he's about 25-ish by Rogue One.
Yeah.
And he says his parents were separatists. So it'd be interesting to see if all these things the Bad Batch is used to connect all these dots.
Yeah, that'd be
good. Then
there'd
be another time gap that either they could do another series in or whatever. Because Boba Fett's 13. He's the same age as Omega.
Yeah, well, I've got a feeling that he's definitely going to show up, isn't he? Young Boba Fett showing up because it's his sister basically that he's hunting down. I've got a feeling that they'll hire Boba Fett as a young, up and coming bounty hunter to hunt down his own sister.
Because that's kind of where we left him in the Clone Wars, right? Him and Bosk and Alora Singh were all
sort of together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'd love to see them together too. But the show is definitely I've liked almost every episode. It did kind of get very side questy there for a little while, but
just like Clone Wars, there's always the filler episodes. They've got 21 episodes to play with, so they do tend to give us a few fillery episodes.
Yeah, well, and some people were just sure this was a one season and done. I'm pretty sure it's not anymore. Not after this week's episode.
Yeah,
you know, Tex goggles would be cool considering they're not in his figure apparently. It's weird when Hasbro does stuff like that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Book of Boba Fett actually is. If it is some sort of kind of, I would assume the first episode will be flashbacky to show us how he got out of the Sarlacc pit, and then I don't know what goes on from there because obviously Bib didn't know he was alive, so he can't be running around, doing much unless it's going to be kind of a Sergio Leone, Clint Eastwood, Man with No Name type series. And because obviously the Mandalorian is Wolf and Cub, so maybe Mandalorian is going to be, the Man with No Name, spaghetti westerns from the 70s.
Yeah, I've got a feeling he's going to be hunting down like the Hutts and people that wronged him, basically, and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be like, like your Bib Fortunas and all the sort of people from that sort of area, and like going around all the different Hutt locations and.
Yeah. Hey, Americus, how you doing? It is well. I hope you're well, sir. Robert, you should watch Solo. The more times I watch Solo, the more I actually like it. There are still huge problems with the film, but I am all for Solo 2. I can't wait for the Lando series because I'm hoping they've been able to take what they were going to do for Solo 2 and kind of pull it out. What I really want for the Lando show is Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, where you have Billy D. Williams sitting in a bar somewhere telling a story, and then it goes back and it shows, the young guy doing that, whatever it is. And you can't, because it would always be that you can't trust what he's telling you because Lando lies. And so even if that show, and it will all be canon, but it's canon from Lando's point of view, not necessarily from what really happened. So it'll be interesting. But I'm so happy that Star Wars has moved to TV because the rate they were pumping out movies, I don't think Star Wars can take that.
No, it can't.
It needs time, and it's obvious that Hasbro needs time for merchandising, because it's hard to have Rogue One, Force Awakens stuff still on the shelves when Rise of Skywalker comes out, or when The Last Jedi comes out. I mean, and then those are all still there when Han Solo comes out, and so you've got all this mismatched packaging, all in supposedly a Star Wars section. I think if they would have done it all in the same packaging, like just create a new sequel trilogy thing, like the Power of the Force line in the old days, I think it would have been one voice would have spoken that aisle. And then you wouldn't have mind if you did have a couple Pegwarmers from another movie hanging around a little. But as soon as you got to walk up there and see, half your peg hook is all the same Jyn Erso or the same trooper or whatever, I think it turned some people off collecting them. But I don't know. That would be interesting to see how Boba Fett views Luke. Because of course now Luke is the big Jedi master. I mean, if I was Boba, I wouldn't go up against him. I mean, I know he's attacked, Jedi in the past, but that's never worked out for him. So you think he would hope he'd learn after 30 years. Plus, he's a good guy now. So, which I never really saw Boba Fett as a bad guy anyway. He's a bounty hunter. He's on whoever side is paying him. That'd be cool. I would be up for that. There are a lot of good spots in Solo. It's like I don't particularly like Rogue One because they killed everybody, but I like Rogue One as a film.
K2SO was a brilliant choice.
Yeah, I just really wish they would have not killed. Everybody didn't need to die. Some of them needed to die. I get that it was really just the Dirty Dozen in Star Wars. That's fine, but you don't need to kill everybody, because now when Cassian's show comes out, I'll watch it. But why do I care? I know he's dead in a year.
Yeah, there's no suspense.
There's no suspense. What I'm watching it for, and of course everybody is KS2O and Alan Tudyk. Because Alan is great, this is from a certain point of view. I know they have a book titled that. I think that's what they actually should have titled this Star Wars Visions anime show, as from a certain point of view. Because none of it's canon, but it's all taking canon bits and showing them from different spots and different types of stuff. I think that's definitely something we could have gotten. True. They don't do. I wish they would do more prequel stuff. I think the prequel stuff we're getting is Bad Batch, really, and they're not. I don't think you're going to go back and see them go back to Naboo or anything like that, which I don't see why. It gives them more worlds to go back to. I think that whole Slave One thing, I think that was overblown. No one would have even noticed if that Lego guy hadn't said what he said. Because nothing so far as anybody can tell, at Disney has changed the name on packaging. Only Lego changed the name. And as somebody pointed out, if you go to their website, they all say that. General Grievous's cruiser and Luke Skywalker's X-Wing. It always says something like that. And so them just changing the name to Boba Fett's ship, I don't care.
It was nothing. It was blown well out of proportion.
Yeah, it's not, so it's their thing. You don't own it. If they decide that they want to change it, and that actually got me thinking, is why is it named Slave One anyway? Like, not in a canonical, why did Django name it that if it didn't just come with that name when he bought it? Mm-hmm. But I can't find anywhere in the making of The Empire Strikes Back or anything why that ship was named Slave One. And I would really love somebody from Lucasfilm to come out and say, well, this is why it was called that back in the day. You know,
Do they even say it in the films?
no, it's never even mentioned as
It's
Slave
never
1
named, is it?
films. Only once you get to the prequels,
Mm-hmm.
it's not every time you see it in a book or a photo book or anything like that. Initially, it was called Boba Fett's ship, but then Kenner needed a name. So I'd like to know if Kenner named it.
Yeah, keep the name.
So, you know, kind of like when in the dark times before the prequels, there was West End Games that made all the role playing stuff, and they named everything. Literally every character got a name. They got backstories, everything for the role playing game, and we still use most of that in canon these days. And so I'm wondering if it's like that. If Kenner needed a name, and because there's the Millennium Falcon, so we need a name. What's this guy's ship's name? And so I wonder if that's simply it. You know, yeah, it doesn't matter. You know,
No,
I couldn't tell you the name of anybody else's ships.
but it's the same as when they renamed, when Hasbro looked to rename sort of Slave Leia. It wasn't, I don't think it was because of the connotation of the word slave. It was more to do with that makes Leia submissive, whereas she actually kills Jabba the Hutt and gets out of there herself. She doesn't wait for someone to come save her.
Yeah.
She gets herself out. So I think it was more about giving her a name of strength more than anything.
Yeah, and they changed it to prisoner, which that's what she was. She wasn't a slave. It's not like Jabba bought her.
Nope.
You know, so he captured her. You know, and so it's the same as Jabba's prisoner Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's or Chewbacca, or R2 and 3PO. It could have been all just changed all that. I would love an old if they were to do a what if series for Star Wars. I would love to see that. I would love to see some of the old Dark Horse series done, or some of the old EU books, or even some of the new stuff like Dark Disciple done as an animated thing. I think they would do really well, and they just have to say that these aren't canon; these are elsewhere stories or whatever. But with Star Wars being so fluid, and they pick from EU, you know, and they're like, oh no, the EU doesn't exist. Well, except for Thrawn, we like him. And oh wait, this ship, we like that ship. And well, yeah, okay. And I like that they can do that, and I like that they are doing it, because then all those years of reading all those books that I wasted aren't completely wasted.
I'm just waiting for the day they add Darth Talon back to the canon.
That would be cool. I would love, you know, and I know it's been in a whole bunch of threads and stuff recently. I would like to see the Seth Green show. Now I forgot what it was. Star Wars Detours. I would like to see that. The episode I saw was hilarious. And I'd love to see. I mean, there are 40 episodes done. Why just leave them? Just dump them on Disney Plus. You've already got the Ewoks and the Droid series. Those aren't canon. We can separate canon. Well, most of us can, I guess. There's man babies that cry, but you know. Yeah, and that's the fire spray is the class of vehicle that it is. Which, what a weirdly designed vehicle anyway. But that's down to McQuarrie, I would suppose. And he came up with a cool looking ship. Yeah. Ola, on the other hand, was clearly probably a slave. And that's another thing that they just don't bring up so much in Star Wars, is how much slavery still existed during the Republic and even after the Republic. I mean, that is clearly a Republic planet in The Last Jedi. And those kids are all slaves. And it's weird. What up, Nathan? How you doing? We were just chatting for a little while. I don't want to keep him too much longer. It's getting late over there. But yeah.
Yes. Robot Chicken in general is just, the Star Wars Robot Chicken is brilliant.
And if George agreed to that and loved that so much, and he liked the Family Guy series, then put Detours out, Disney. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What if those just appeared on YouTube one day and George was like, pushes a button and just dumps them all on YouTube? That'd be great. What do you think? Are you going to pick up the that 3-pack, the Cantina pack with Walrus Man and Dr. Zayvon?
Yeah, I definitely will. I'm a big Star Wars 6-inch collector, so yeah, they're on my radar, 100%.
And I know both of those are being released individually, but I'm a sucker for the packaging. So I want it for the box because I already have that set from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I like the bit of the Cantina we're getting. And so I would bet almost dollars to donuts that we are going to get something like the other side of that with like the Tanaka sisters and the bartender.
And then I can see us also getting the band, the Cantina band as a set, and then maybe even Han and Greedo in a little alcove bit, and slowly you build the Cantina section by section.
Yeah, and that's why I don't want to miss this bit, because I can see Hasbro working on this in my mind.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't have a bit, and then I'd be like, now I gotta have Dave make me one. Because as soon as Dave gets it, he can scan it in and he can make the other half for you. I'm telling you, Dave, get an Etsy shop together. You could just say sci-fi bar piece, and you could sell tons of those. I know. That was one of the best parts of episode 2, was that silent bomb thing, which completely blew Star Wars away, because there's no sound in space. But we always have sound, whether it's the rumbling of the engines that we shouldn't be able to hear, or, the beginning of episode 3, which was great.
I remember being in the cinema and just hearing that boom, that noise. Brilliant. Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of the old THX logo when it would come on.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. It's just... It's weird. And the more I watch Star Wars and the more they make droids think for themselves, the more concerning I am of the slave trade of droids, and how you can just erase their personalities like they've done to poor 3PO several times, but apparently not to R2. So, who is by far the best secret keeper in the world. I don't know if he has one of those, secret keeper spells on him where if he says something, he's going to die. But he's been around since the beginning, and he doesn't say shit to anybody. He could come work at the place I work, and we would hire him because we definitely know he wasn't going to tell anybody. Well, that comes back to when people flipped out, and they rightfully so, for that Bespin thing they put out last year that only had half of it. And then the Tantive 4 hallway that only has one bit. And, I'm not sure how, Hasbro's always been like that, but you didn't used to have to spend $50 to get half a playset and then figure that you had to buy the other half. I don't know. They are Fox. I think that would be going a step too far. Because that's like saying that Indiana Jones is part of Star Wars canon. Just because R2 and 3PO are in the Well of the Souls in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so that might be taking that one step too far to get an alien or a predator in.
You're more than likely these days to see Alien and Predator pop up in a Marvel comic, because I know Marvel have just picked up the rights to do the comics for Alien and Predator. So that
comic is really good. I mean, it reminds me of some of the original Dark Horse comics for Aliens when they hadn't completely run out of ideas yet. And it's really nice. The covers are great. I've loved the Marvel covers that they've done with the aliens, but you know. And I bought that. I'm still waiting for that to go on clearance. It went on sale for $29 on Amazon for one day, but I wasn't at work, so I didn't see the internet, so I missed it, or I would have bought one. Because again, I'm a sucker for anything in retro packaging as well. Yeah. Well, and my favorite bit of The Last Jedi was, and that this is what triggered this whole "what can droids do" thing in my head, was in The Last Jedi, as Luke's walking out to go face Kylo, he stops and acknowledges 3PO and gives him a little wink, which is an incredible character thing for Luke to do, because Luke understands that 3PO is not the, I don't know, fuck up that everybody else thinks he is, that he's been there the entire time. But if Luke is a force projection, how can 3PO see him? Because he's not solid, he's not really there. Can droids perceive the force? And that's what got this stupid thing stuck in my head. Well, you can't just kill them, they're really people. And then when Solo came out and she's, fighting for droids' rights and stuff, it was like, yeah, why don't droids have unions or something like that? How can you can just buy and sell them? They're people. Then I got really confused.
Well, it's not going to be long until we have that proper ethical conundrum in the real world, is it? We're not that far off.
Not far. Not with the rate Japan is pushing sex droids out. I know they're an odd people, but nice. Yeah, and Luke always gave 3PO some respect. And maybe at some point Luke found out that Anakin made him. Maybe at some point R2 was like, oh, by the way, if you want something else of your dad since you lost his lightsaber, you have 3PO here. Your dad built him, And it was like, so I don't know. I overthink things. If I'm stuck at work and I don't have anything better to do, it's what made WandaVision so much fun. It's because you could just go off and come up with the craziest shit, Yeah. How do you learn astromech? I know Luke was brought up around droids, and he repairs them. But there's a lot of people in the Star Wars universe who understand astromech. And is it a night course you can take? Is it something? I'm not sure. But yeah. What'd you think of Loki?
Oh, I really enjoyed Loki. Loki was brilliant. That ending was awesome.
Loki was the best Doctor Who we've gotten in years.
Yeah.
That was some great episodes. I loved every character. I loved every minute of that show. And then when it was getting to the end, I'm like, this can't be it. But then, of course, it wasn't. We're getting a season 2. I was like, woohoo.
Plus,
I got what I really wanted was when they announced the Thor movies and all that stuff, I said the perfect person to play Loki is Richard E. Grant. But he's too old for the role. I finally got my Richard E. Grant, and there better be a Marvel Legends figure of him.
Oh, the coming. Definitely.
They will be the first series of figures I've ever bought. I have an Iron Man, a Captain America, and a Winter Soldier from Civil War. Those are the only Marvel figures I own. I'm going to find that Loki. I'm going to find Sylvia and any of the others they put out, and they better put out the kid with Alligator Loki.
I'm about to say, I can imagine them doing a 3-pack with the Alligator, the kid, and Richard E. Grant.
I would buy that. Yeah, I would buy that.
They could release that as like a Comic-Con set or something, and it'd be a perfect buy.
That's true. And we've already seen Funko has the Alligator Loki coming. So I'll pick that up.
Yeah.
Yes. Robot Chicken was just too great. But did you read any of the Aftermath novels?
No.
So do you know what happened to Jar Jar in the end?
No.
It's really sad. After the fall of the Republic and the beginning of the Empire, he, of course, was kicked out of the Senate. And he went back to Naboo. And basically, he was not allowed to go back to the Gungans. He was banished from the Gungan people. So he is basically a homeless street performer in Naboo that only children talk to, and most children just mock him and throw things at him. But some children, he's basically a clown in the street now. And it's really sad how he turns out. And the guy who wrote the books was like, well, I wasn't going to kill him because everybody wants him dead for some reason. He thought this was a much sadder end for Jar Jar.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow. I read that whole passage and I was like, wow, that hurts. I feel bad for Jar Jar now. That would be awesome if Luke knew Groot. He does. I don't know if he interacts enough with Chewbacca that we know if he speaks or not.
I don't think he does because Han always kind of narrated whatever Chewie was saying.
Yeah. Everybody did because everybody thought it was a 6-episode series and we were going to get answers. But I knew it couldn't have been, they kept going on that it's Kang the Conqueror. And I knew it couldn't be the real Kang because the real Kang isn't until February of 2023 in Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. So I knew they couldn't introduce a character this early and then not do anything with him for basically a year and a half. So I think what we'll get is season 2 of Loki that's going to get us closer to the new Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
And then go from there. But I have a question. Do you think Owen Wilson is in charge of this new TVA?
No. I still think she's in charge.
She can't be in charge. She left. So at the end of the episode, the one security chick is talking to him and says, is he going to allow this? Is he going to stop this? Asking Owen as if, because with the other woman, she seemed to be the only person who talked to the 3 lizard peoples. Almost as if Owen was the only one who now talks to the new guy.
Or whether Kang or the variant is a supreme leader almost, and he's in charge anyway. He might be different this time around. He might skip the whole 3 lizarded people and just have himself in that room on a big throne.
That's true. He might be more of a hands-on manager.
Yeah.
Of the apocalypse. Plus, I love watching Loki because I've been to that hotel so many times. That whole hotel where the TSA is, or TVA is, that's the Marriott where they hold the Dragon Con every year.
Right.
And they've used it for some Marvel stuff, and they've used it for the Hunger Games and things like that because it's built in the 70s, I think, or late 70s, and it still looks futuristic. You don't have to do too much with it, but I don't know if they're going to get to the X-Men. I mean, we have movies announced all the way through 2023, and unless X-Men's going to be a TV show, I don't think they show up. I'd watch an animated What If episode of the alligator from Loki. That would be cool. I felt bad for Walrus Man. He did lose an arm. Yeah, Blue was the closest to all of us in guessing the plot for it. Yeah, at the end, Mobius didn't know who Loki was because this is a completely different Mobius, or at least a different timeline. We're not sure what's going on. Different multiverse.
But I think it was a different world, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like, like Back to the Future. This is how I sort of described it with a friend. In Back to the Future, when he goes to the future and Biff's now in charge, it could be like that, where basically she thought she was sending him back to the original TVA, but of course, because she's killed the guy in the future, the past is going to have been altered already because everything's moving together. So maybe, in that timeline, because they were there, Mobius never met Loki and that whole thing never happened.
It's absolutely makes sense to me. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm pretty sure that that's going to have to be how it's explained, because you can't. Spider-Man should answer a lot of our questions.
Yep.
That's December. I don't want it to be December, but and then we have to wait for Multitude of Madness, next year. Then apparently the following year for Kang to actually show up, a version of Kang. Now, what would be interesting is if movies going forward, like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, we get different versions of Kang.
I think so.
And every time they kill him, he just restarts as a completely another new Kang, and he gets worse. Like, this guy was the most, bang on straight up dude. Now the new guy who's running the TVA, he's a little more evil. And then somewhere along the line, we get another one, and then we get the real Kang the Conqueror, who's trying to take everybody out, erase all the timelines, and I'm hoping that we're going to get something along those lines. But with the MCU, it's so hard. That was one of the things I loved best about Loki, was because there weren't like Loki storylines to follow, unlike WandaVision, where clearly WandaVision was House of M and a couple other of those mixed together. This didn't have any real footing.
No. They just took a few ideas like from the 2016
3-issue comic that had some stuff, but yeah, it was nice. Yeah, and what it shows is that I love that Loki actually ended up with a friend. Somebody who wasn't going to stab him in the back. Somebody he never realized Thor really could be. Because he was always jealous of Thor, and he always had that in the back of his head, that he should be in charge. He should be the one the women all wanted, that he should have the hammer, that, and he never let go of that, and that ate at him and made him the Loki we know. And until he let go of all that, which is what Silva didn't. She never let go of her hatred. She never actually took the journey that Loki was on, even though she's been on that journey for 1,000 years maybe. She still never took the steps that he took to get over her pain and accept her pain. And she destroyed the universe in doing it. So it'll be interesting to see how she comes back as well. But I really hope there are at least 2 different J.J. Jamesons in the Spider-Man movie.
Well, now that we know what we know, that J. Jonah Jameson that we saw in the post-credit scene of the last film, I'm assuming is J. Jonah Jameson from the original universe with Tobey Maguire, and it's just that this is the start of the crossover of the multiverses.
I don't know, because we didn't see Jameson wasn't in either of the Aaron Garfield movies, right?
Nope.
So he won't even know who he is, or he just didn't care about Spider-Man the way the other Jamesons seem to do. But or 3 would be interesting, especially if they started talking to each other. I would watch him. That actor is so incredible. I would watch him talk to himself and himself, all complaining about Spider-Man together, about their versions of Spider-Man. What, he did that? Well, in my universe, my Spider-Man knocked over a tower and blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, well, mine, he brought my pizza a half hour late. It'd be weird stuff. But, oh, geez, we've gone for 2 hours. I'm sorry, dude.
It's all right.
It's, did you collect any of the Playmates Star Trek stuff?
No, it wasn't a big thing for me.
They picked up the license again. So it'll be interesting to see if they go Black Series with it, or if they stay with their 5-inch line and just make better looking figures.
Yeah, because I remember back in the 90s. Is that Playmates that I'm thinking of back in the day?
Yeah.
And I remember I did have the Next Generation, a few of them when I was a kid. But yeah, it was never really a big line that I collected.
It'll be interesting to see how deep they go in to start with,
to
see if there's a market for it. Because I think Trek would still sell well if, they had something to buy.
Yeah, definitely. And especially with the fact that they are going to be making the next Star Trek film as well, aren't they? They've sort of said that that's coming out now.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. I hate the JJ verse with a passion.
Oh, really?
The division of CBS and Paramount destroyed Star Trek, and they haven't been able to find their footing since, because they can't decide how much of any of the new stuff they've made is real canon, fake canon, or some sort of multiverse thing. So it'll be interesting to see. The new series of Picard has Q in it. I would love Q to just come on and say, well, you're a robot now? No. And bring him back to life to start with. I don't want Picard to be a robot. That's not what I've watched 40 years of Next Generation for. It's to have him turn into a robot in the end. But it'll be interesting to see. I still try and watch every new series, and I get it 2 or 3 episodes in, and I'm like, this is not made for us anymore, and I stop watching.
So I'm wondering if Playmates are gonna, if they do make the lines, I wonder if they were gonna maybe aim it at the new stuff like your Picard, your new movies, and
they did say the new stuff like Discovery and Lower Decks and
I forgot about Lower
Picard
Decks.
Were all going to be some stuff initially put out, but that they were going to be putting classic Trek stuff out all the way through Enterprise as well. And it's the master toy license, so it's all the movies, all the shows.
Wow.
They've even said that they're going to put out some animated Trek stuff from back in when that show was out in the 70s.
Christ.
And so they're going to do Lower Deck stuff. They're going to do the animated show. And they've got that new show, the new CG show that's going to be on Nickelodeon coming up.
All right.
That they said they'd got stuff for. So it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting collection of figures. Hopefully they do them on one universal Star Trek card so that they look right on the shelves. Yeah. But
they need to make a line a bit like Black Series or something where they could universally put them in a packaging.
Yeah. Or, like Black Series is now. I like Black Series now because I like the packaging. That red box, I hated that stuff.
Yeah,
that's why I never bought any of them. But the mural on the side, I really like.
Nice. Yeah.
And so you could do a Picard from Next Generation, and then do Michael from Discovery, but they'd have a different mural going, and you would just fill this in like we do the Black Series now.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily need to make a whole wave of just Discovery characters. You could drop stuff in. You'd throw a Borg in from First Contact or something. And I mean, all that, I think it would really sell well. But I'll have to see. They were all androids all along. They were all Cylons. There were no such things as people. If you know nothing about Trek, classic Trek is a nice place to start. My favorite Star Trek of all time is Deep Space Nine. It remembers what happens from episode to episode. It has a deep history. It has 35 returning characters through the 7 seasons. It has a very tight story from seasons 3 through 5. Really nice. No, Victor, we've discussed this. We don't open things. Yeah. You know how you could fix that movie, the Khan one they did? That he was lying the entire time, and he was not actually Khan. He was like Khan's first officer. What they should have done is at the end when they were showing all the capsules, the camera should have moved in and shown a CG'd Ricardo Montalban from Space Seed, the original episode he was in, laying there, so that you knew Khan was really still there. and could come back in another film, and that Benedict Cumberbatch was just some jackass pretending to be Khan, and a usurper trying to protect his leader from Section 51, Section 31 taking him over.
Well, for me, I always thought they were going down the route of, because obviously then after Khan, as if it's the like search for Spock and stuff, and it seems that they were going to go for the search of, what do you call him instead? The other character, Kirk. Yeah, I can't think of the name then. God. The search for Kirk instead. I thought there was going to be like a weird alternate timeline like that, and do that kind of thing.
But they were kind of doing it because the original script for Star Trek 4, the new JJ Star Trek 4, was supposed to have Chris Helmsworth come back as Kirk's dad, and it was supposed to be a time travel movie.
Oh,
well, what was the original Star Trek 4 about? Time travel movie going to get whales. I don't see why you can't come up with new ideas. Star Trek is all about moving forward. And for the past 15, 20 years or more, we've only moved backwards. Picard at least moved forward a little, and now Discovery is 1,000 years in the future, which that's so far out, who cares? That nothing that happens now can affect that whatsoever. It's boring. They shouldn't have done that. Discovery should have been a series set right after Voyager, like 10 years after Voyager, to see how the entire Alpha Quadrant is dealing with the end of the Dominion War, and Cardassia being on its knees, and Bajor being a big part of the thing now. And they shouldn't have blown up Romulus and Vulcan to start with. I just and why kill Hugh? Yeah, there was so much wrong with that Picard series.
I am really sorry, dude, but I'm gonna have to jet very soon.
Yeah, I gotta let you go. So thank you so much. I could sit here and chat with you for hours.
Me too.
So thank you again, everybody. If you have not already subscribed, please subscribe. I know we went a little longer than usual, but I want to thank our special guest for coming, and please go check out his channel. He has got so many great videos, and has such a great collection of stuff. He is able to buy more than us. So go check out all the new stuff. And until then, catch you all on the flip side.
Nice. Bye.